Thank you for joining us, and we're back reading the Dhammapada. Part 4 today is the flowers of life. The flowers of life. Who shall conquer this world, and the world of the gods, and also the world of Yama, of death and of pain? Who shall find the Dhammapada, the clear path of perfection? The clear path of perfection, even as one who seeks flowers finds the most beautiful flower. The wise student shall conquer this world, and the world of the gods, and also the world of Yama, of death and of pain. The wise student shall find the Dhammapada, the clear path of perfection, just as one who seeks flowers finds the most beautiful flower. Who knows that this body is the foam of a wave, the shadow of a mirage, breaks the sharp arrows of Mara, concealed in the flowers of sensuous passion and unseen by the king of death. He goes on and follows his path. Breaking the sharp arrows of Mara. Mara we spoke of earlier as being our own self-created delusion and evil. Breaking the sharp arrows of Mara is to conquer our own self-deception, and hence pass over unseen by the king of death. But death carries away one who gathers the flowers of sensuous passions, even as a torrent of rushing water overflows a sleeping village and then runs forward on its way. And death, the end of all, makes an end of one who ever thirsty for desires gathers the flowers of sensuous passions. As the bee takes the essence of a flower and flies away without destroying its beauty and perfume, so let the sage wander in this life. Think not of the faults of others, of what they have done or not done. Think rather of your own sins, of the things you have done or not done. Just as a flower which seems beautiful and has colour but has no perfume, so are the fruitless words of one who speaks them but does them not. And just like a beautiful flower which has colour and also has perfume, are the beautiful fruitful words of one who speaks and does what they say. As from a large heap of flowers, many garlands and wreaths can be made, so by a mortal in this life there is much good work to be done. The perfume of flowers goes not against the wind, not even the perfume of sandalwood, of rosebay or of jasmine, but the perfume of virtue travels against the wind and reaches unto the ends of the world. There is the perfume of sandalwood, of rosebay, of the blue lotus and jasmine, but far above these perfumes and the perfumes of all flowers is the perfume of virtue, which is supreme. Not very far goes the perfume of flowers, even that of rosebay or of sandalwood. But the perfume of the good reaches heaven, and it is the perfume supreme amongst the gods. The path of those who are rich in virtue, who are ever watchful, whose true light makes them free, cannot be crossed by Mara, by death. Even as on a heap of rubbish thrown away by the side of the road, a lotus flower may grow and blossom with its perfume, giving away joy to the soul. In the same way, among the blind multitudes shines the pure light of wisdom, of the student who follows the Buddha, the one who is truly awake. That's the fourth section of the Dhammapada, titled The Flowers of Life, which is very apt considering we first read as a human thinketh, and the whole analogy of the garden of our mind. The garden of the mind and pain and suffering exists so that we may cultivate flowers, beautiful flowers and beautiful fruits. Section 5 is called The Fool. I guess we may as well read that one too, seeing as we did 2 last time. The Fool. How long is the night to the watchman? How long is the road to the weary? How long is the wandering of lives ending in death for the fool who cannot find the path? If on the great journey of life one cannot find one who is better or at least as good as themselves, then let them joyfully travel alone. A fool cannot help him on their journey. These are my sons, this is my wealth. In this way the fool troubles himself. He is not even the owner of himself, how much less of his sons and of his wealth. If a fool can see his own folly, then in this he is at least wise. But the fool who thinks he is wise, he indeed is the real fool. If during the whole of one's life a fool lives with a wise man, he never knows the path of wisdom, and the spoon never knows the taste of the soup, just as the spoon never knows the taste of the soup. But if a man who watches and sees is only a moment with a wise man, then they soon know the path of wisdom, as the tongue knows the taste of the soup. A fool who thinks they are wise goes through life with themselves as their enemy, and they ever do wrong deeds, which in the end bear bitter fruit. For that deed is not well done. When being done, one has to repent, and when one must reap with tears the bitter fruits of the wrong deed. But the deed is indeed well done. When being done, one has not to repent, and when one can reap with joy the sweet fruits of the right deed. The wrong action seems sweet to the fool until the reaction comes and brings pain, and the bitter fruits of wrong deeds have then to be eaten by the fool. A fool may fast month after month, eating his food with the sharp point of a blade of kusa grass, and his worth not a 16th part of that of the wise man whose thoughts feed on truth. A wrong action may not bring its reaction at once, even as fresh milk turns not sour at once. Like a smouldering fire concealed under ashes, it consumes the wrongdoer, the fool. And if ever to their own harm the fool increases in cleverness, this only destroys their own mind and their own fate worse than it was before. And their fate is worse than it was before. That's interesting. If ever to one's own harm the fool increases in cleverness, this only destroys their mind, and their fate is worse than before. That's very interesting. A fool who becomes more smart, smart but still foolish, actually just learns more skillfully how to destroy themselves, how to deceive themselves. For one will wish for one will wish for reputation, for precedence among the monks, for authority in the monasteries, and for veneration amongst the people. Let householders and hermits both think it was I who did that work, and let them ever ask me what they should do or not do. These are the thoughts of the fool, puffed up with desire and pride. But one is the path of earthly wealth, and the other is the path of nirvana. Let the follower of the Buddha think of this, and without striving for reputation, let them ever strive after freedom. I think that is a beautiful place to end it. I like doing these two sections at once. We'll breeze through this book real quick. That was The Flowers of Life and... What the hell was that chapter I just read? The Fool. I'm the fool right now. I love you guys so much. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening along. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate it more than you know. I love you so much. I love you, my family. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to the Dhammapada with me.